Okay, so tonight we're going to be learning Daf Lamed Gimel and Daf Lamed Daled Amud Aleph to keep ourselves on the 1.5 blot pace for all the nights that we learn, and a reminder of all of our schedule that we will be learning a blot and a half every available night, which means just not Yontif and Shabbos, but on Motzei Shabbos and Yontif as well, we will be learning a blot and a half. And looking forward to a rest from from preparing, and hopefully we'll be able to stick to the pace throughout the Chag. Ari Shabbat made a chart actually of how long it will take us to catch up, and I think he said that it's not even so bad. By April 23rd or so we should catch up if we keep this pace and don't do anything else. And I think that's what we're going to try to do. So let's get started. Today we have a tremendous amount of Agarata. Pretty much all of Lamed Gimel is Agarata, and I'm actually going to be cheating a little bit and using some English for the psukim because I have no idea what they mean, and no time for learning a whole new vocabulary. So if you hear more rustling of the pages, it's because the art scroll has more pages per blot than does my big fancy Gemara that my parents got for me. So let's get started on the bottom of Lamed Beis Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. Be'avon gezel, in light of the sin of theft, Hagovai Ola, there will be dangerous grasshoppers, their numbers will increase. V'harav hoveh, there will be famine. Uvnei Adam ochlin bisar b'nehem uvno sehen, and Rachmana litzlan, people will be eating the flesh of their children. Shene'emar, as the pasuk says. The pasuk says here, Shimu hadavar hazeh paros habashan. This is a reference to people who are referred to as the cows of Bashan. Rava will shortly explain that. Asher Behar Shomron, who live in the Shomron, Ha'oshkos Dalim, who crush the poor. Amar Rava says, Ha'oshkos Dalim Harotisos of Yonim, and who also crush the poor people. Amar Rava, who are these people, these paros, who are crushing the poor people? Amar Rava, Kigon Hani Nashe de Mechoza. These are the wives who live in Mechoza. He was giving a local musar. Rava was giving musar to this particular group of people. What was the musar that he was giving? The musar that he was giving was the achlan v'lo avdan. They were fressing, but they weren't working hard. In other words, they were creating a scenario by which they had to even steal in order to get their food. Take a look at the top Rashi. V'nimsa shegozlo says ba'alehen. They were then stealing from their husbands. The second shot in Rashi is that she and her husband were on the same page, that the husband had to steal and they were stealing from the poor, and it was not good. Uchsiv, like the pasuk says, they are going to be hit with these different types of maladies. And for all of the gardens and for all of the vineyards that you have, the gazam, which is a type of locust, is going to eat it. And the pasuk continues, after the gazam eats, then the next type of locust is going to come, the arbe. Anything that remains after the arbe, basically, you're going to have layer upon layer of locusts destroying your food. And the pasuk also says, "Vayigzor al yamin ra'ev," and he snatches up the right and is still hungry. He has food. He's still hungry. Vayochal al simol v'lo saveu, and he'll eat with his left hand, and he still will not be saveya. Ish besar zero o yochelu. These words are key. And then he'll eat the flesh of his arm. And then the Gemara here gives a terrifying language. Al tikri bisar zero. Don't say that it's the flesh of your arm. Ela bisar zero, the flesh of his children. So that's where the drasha comes from, that with the avon of Gezel, based on these multitudes of psukim, through the avon of Gezel, a person could, Rahman al-Islam, come to the point of being so starving that they end up eating the flesh of their children, things that are not even within our world. Be'avon inui hadin, if a person is delaying giving out a din, namely once a bezdin knows the psak for a particular case, they have to tell the defendant what the psak is. If you're delaying the din, ve'ivus hadin, if you are ma'akim the din, you change it, you're not being yashar about it. Ve'kilkul hadin, another version of not keeping or halacha and paskening halacha properly. U'bitl Torah, for all of these averos. Cherev, there will be a sword, uviza. Uviza Rabba, there will be a lot of spoils with Dever and Locust. Uvatzores, there's going to be famines. Uvnei Adam Ochlin, they're going to eat. Ve'enon Sevein, and they'll eat, but they won't be satiated. Va'ochlin Lachman b'mishkal, they'll only be able to eat in certain measure. They're not going to have a tremendous amount of food. Tichsiv, as the pasuk says, "Va'avesi alechem cherev no kemes nekam." And he says, we see the pasuk says that he's going to bring upon us a cherev because of the bris. Ve'ein bris ela Torah, referencing all of the Torah that was all the bittul Torah and all the halachos that these dayanim that they all messed up. Ve'ein bris ela Torah shneimar im lo brisi yomam v'layla uchsiv b'shivri lachem matel lechem ve'afu eser nashim ve'gomer uchsiv ya'an uve'ya'an b'mishpatei ma'as. They were disgusted by my laws, and therefore we see that these onshim come about as mentioned through the psukim. We see cherev in the psukim, and we see that there's lechem in the psukim, and that there's going to be even 10 women cooking, and they're never going to have enough food. This brings us to the two dots about 10 lines down. Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph Bavon Shuas Shav. If a person makes a Shuas Shav, an empty shvu, Shuas Sheker, or a lie, v'chilul Hashem, v'chilul Hashabbos, or disgracing a Kadosh Baruch Hu, or being Mechal Shabbos. What are the onshim for that? Chayara Rabba. There will be a lot of wild animals. Behema Kala, and animals will die. Animals will be completed. Uvnei Adam Mismatin. There will be no people around. Hadrachim Ishtomimin. The pathways, the streets will be empty. Just eerie that these references are being made on this daf at this time. Shene'emar. If by these they don't take my musar, I'll take Allah. Allah is a language of shavua. It's a language of cursing, promising, I should say, and that's what the pasuk, the play on words in the pasuk from be'ela is be'ala. Uchsiv, the pasuk also says ve'ishlachti bachem es chayas hasadeh, that I'm going to send the animals against you. Uchsiv b'shuas sheker, in regards to shuas sheker, to making a lie, the Torah says v'lo tishveu v'shmila sheker. What about Bechilal Hashem? Bechilal Hashem, Hashem Kodeshi, that you are not allowed to make my name profane. You're not allowed to make my name less than great. Bechilal Shabbos, most you must. We learn that the two of them are combined in the same halacha with the same onshim, because the word chilul applies in both cases, by Chilul Shabbos and by Chilul Hashem. Two dots, 1/3 of the way down. When it comes to the avera of murder, so there the halacha says, the Beis Hamikdash will be destroyed. And the Shechina will be removed from the Jewish people. That you should not bring any guilt upon the land. And you should not make the ground impure, but the land that you're sitting in. The land that I am sitting in. And then the Gemara here adds a drasha. It says, if you're going to be the ones who are being metame the land, so then I'm not going to join you. If you make the land a place where I don't want to be, I'm just not going to join. So we can see that these onshim are relative to the crimes themselves. It's a fascinating combination of averos to put in one list. Two of them are Yeharek Val Yavor, Gilei Eras V'avodas Kochavim, and the last one is Hashmata Shmitin V'Yovlos, people who are not makbid on Shmita and people who are not makbid on Yovel. It's pretty remarkable that they're put in the same category. The Rishonim and the Forshim try to come up with a good reason. Some of them, some write that this has to do with Emunah and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. By Gilei Arayos, a person feels like they don't have what HaKadosh Baruch Hu provided for them, so they seek other options that are outside of the confines of halacha. That's unacceptable. And that's a lack of emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And by avodas kochavim, you're looking at another deity. You have a deity. By Shemitah, you're saying, there is no HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm going to do it on my own. The field's just not going to grow. I don't have the emunah to rely on Shemitah and Yovlos. So that's a theme that could be understood as to why they're all grouped together. What's the onesh for these averos? Says the Gemara, Galus Bala Olam, Umagleno son, the Galus comes to the world. This person will also have a personal exile, and other people will come sit in his particular place. Amar, like the pasuk says, all these terrible things that they've done. The land became contaminated, and Kadosh Baruch Hu remembers the averes that were done there. Let not the land kick you out. You should not be doing these things. Don't do the things that will force you to get kicked out of the land. All of them are very bad. I'm going to take your corpse. I'm going to destroy your mikdash. I'll spread you out among the nations. Even in regards to Shmitin and Yovelos, the pasuk says, We have to give the land its time to rest. Kol yemei hashama ve'atem ba'aretz oivechem. You'll be in the land of your enemies. U'chsiv kol yemei hashama tishbos. That all of that time you really should let it rest. And if not, then I'll make it rest by kicking you out. Vavo navlus peh. This is one of the well-known sugyas in Shas about nivel peh. Nivel peh is not limited to cursing because obviously the curse words are relative to a generation. In English, we know what they are, unfortunately, but in different languages, there are different words. So we really need to reframe this not only as cursing, but really as generally speaking in an appropriate way. And we'll soon see in the Gemara that includes things that have innuendo, things that are otherwise inappropriate because of their tochen, not just because of the words that are actually involved. But this is one of the major sugyas that's referred to in Shas in regards to nivel peh. Again, just to be super clear, this should not be limited to just cursing. Of course, there are other things that should not come out of our mouths. And with this consequence of nivel peh, speaking in a prust fashion, just not like a ben Torah. The line is very sharp. There's a nice way to talk and there's a not nice way to talk. There's just a very clear line in the sand, and sometimes it's difficult to stand on the right side of the line. What's the consequence for nivel peh? Tsaros, rabos, ugzeros, kashos, mischachos. It brings about tremendously difficult decrees. Ubachure soni Yisrael, as we've seen a number of times in Shas, is a reference to Jews. It's not a reference to non-Jews. It's just speaking b'lashon. It's not really b'lashon naki, but it's speaking b'remez because we don't want to say this line directly about Jews, but that ubachure soni Yisrael, the young boys of the Jewish people, Rahman al-Islam, Mesim, that they could die from this punishment. Yisomim v'almanos, women who are widows and who are orphans, tzoakin ve'ein anenin, if they are people who are subject to nivel peh, so then they could call out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he may not answer them. Shenamar al ken al bachurav lo yismach Hashem ve'yisoma ve'almanosav lo yerachem kichalu chenef umeira v'chol peh dover nevala v'chol zos lo shabapo ve'od yado netuya. So if a person speaks in this way, Hashem can't have racham iman them. These last words, what does it mean ve'od yado netuya, that their hands are still, that his hand is still outstretched? My ve'od yado netuya, that his hand is still outstretched, seemingly for a punishment, for a din. Famous Gemara right here. The Gemara says, Amar Rav Chanan bar Abba, Hakol Yodin, Kala Lema Nichnasa L'chuppah. We all know that after a Kala gets married, that there's going to be intimacy. Everybody knows that. And that it's a mitzvah d'oraisa. Everyone's aware of it. Anyone who's been to chassan classes knows it's true. It's pashut. Everybody knows that that's true. The question is not what we know. Elakol hamenabil piv. But if you're the one who talks about it and you make reference to it, even in a subtle way, that's considered completely inappropriate. In those scenarios, even if a person has a decree, a positive decree on them of 70 years of good, with these types of comments, these types of dialogue, the innuendo, the inappropriate type of conversation, so then Hofchen Allah, the Rabbi Rahman al can reverse all of that. Amar Rabba bar Shila, Amar Rav Chizda kol manabel es piv ma'amikin lo gehenim. This person has a deeper place in Gehenim. Shenemar shoche amuka pizaros. Pizaros, the strange mouth, speaking in strange ways. It's amuka. Their placement is going to be even deeper. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Amar af shomei v'shosek. Even if a person's in dialogue, they hear the inappropriate conversation and they don't stop it. Of course, it has to be in a setting where it's reasonable that you could guide and help. Otherwise, it's not practical. If you're going to be the guy who every time someone curses you, you say, absolutely not acceptable, so then you'll have no friends and you'll have no hashpa. The mitzvah of tochacha, providing rebuke to people, is not a mitzvah that is black on white, that every time you see an aveira, you have to comment. That's not what the mitzvah of tochacha is. The mitzvah of tochacha is that where a person has the capacity to be influential under the circumstances, then there's a mitzvah of tochacha. There's a shaila in halacha, what if you're not sure? Okay, fine. If you know it's not going to work, so then you for sure should not say anything. Then mutav shishogin b'altim azidin, better the people should have a lower level of onesh than a greater one by you saying something. So here the Gemara says in the name of Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak that even a person who's shomei v'shosek, he hears but he doesn't respond. Shenemar za'om Hashem yipol sham. That's not okay. A person should be defensive for the covenant of Shemaim and to make sure that people don't speak nivel peh wherever there's influence to prevent people from doing that. 12 lines from the bottom. Amar Avoshia, kol mamarek atzmo la'avera, a person who clears time in their day to do an avera. You make it part of your schedule. From 2 to 4 o'clock, I'm going to do an avera. So if you're going to be setting up your day in such a way, then chaburo sufzayin yotzin bo, he'll have bruises and he'll have injuries that will afflict him. Shenemar chaburos petza timrok bera belood ela shenidon behadrokan. Not only will he get these bruises, but he'll also get this intestinal disease called hadrokan. We learned about this, where a person restrains themselves from defecating, it can lead to hadrokan. When a person restrains themselves from urinating, it can lead to urokon, which is some type of jaundice. We'll see more of this today. We're going to spend some time on hadrokan right now, actually. Says the Gemara, Shnei, how do we know that this person gets the onus of hadrokan? Because it says, umakos chedre batan, there will be the wounds of the belly, of the intestines. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak siman la'avera hadroken. If a person violates an avera, then they get hadroken. This avera here is referenced, according to some of the Meforshim, as averas to deal with arayos. 7 lines from the bottom. Let's dig in a little bit more to the sugyas of hadroken. Tanu Rabbanan Gimel Mine hadroken. There are 3 types of hadroken, 3 types of this intestinal disease, and how it can impact you. Shel avera ava. If the reason you got it is because you violated an avera, then your skin will become thick. Vishel ra'av, if you starve yourself, and that's the reason why you got hadroken, you didn't do anything wrong halachically, so then tafuach, you'll become swollen. Vishel kshafim, and if the reason why you got it is because you were involved in kshafim, in black magic, then your skin will be very, very thin. Shmuel HaKatan chashbe. Shmuel HaKatan, if you recall, was the person in Maseches brachos who wrote the bracha of V'la Malshinim al Tihi Sikva. So he's the one who had the schus of writing that bracha. Shmuel HaKatan chashbe, he had hadroken. Amar, he said, Ribono Shalom, mi mafis. Who's the one who's going to have to guess which type of avera? Mafis is a lottery. Right. So who's the one who's going to have to guess what avera did? I know that I did nothing wrong. What is this whole game that you're doing with me? Right? To take away the machala. And Shmuel HaKatan was on the level to have that dialogue with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And Itzeh, he was healed. The Kadosh Baruch Hu took away the avera. Abaye chashbe, when Abaye got hadroken, Omar Rava, the person who argues with him most in Shas, they were blood brothers. They were just the closest to people. Yodana be benachmeni de machben nafshe. Nachmeni is either a nickname of Abaye or it was his actual name. A discussion whether Abaye was the nickname because he was an orphan. So Abaye is Av Hashem Aleph Beis Yod Yod. Really, his father is Hashem. He doesn't have a father. He was orphaned. Or whether his real name was Abaye and his nickname was Nachmeni. Either way, Rava goes to bat for his friend. Rava says, Yadana be benachmeni. I know about Nachmeni. I know about Abaye, demach ben nafshe, that he did not violate any averas. He was in the second category of when a person gets this disease because they've starved themselves, so then their skin becomes tafuach, their skin becomes swollen, so people would not judge him by thinking he did an avera. 4 lines from the bottom. Rava chashbe, Rava got this disease of hadroken. Says the Gemara, how can it be that Rava got it? We presume he didn't do any averas. And the second option also doesn't make a lot of sense. Rava huda amar nefishe ketile kedar minefishe kafan. More people are going to get killed by overeating than they are by starving. And the Rashi here explains that Rava was of the opinion that people should not be starving themselves. So then how did Rava get it? What is happening here? How could Rava possibly have gotten this disease? He couldn't have gotten it through averas. Rava doesn't do averas. He couldn't have gotten it through Rav, through fasting. So how did he get the disease? Answers the Gemara, Shani Rava, De'an Seile Rabbanon Be'idne Bal Korche. His Talmidim were asking him so many questions, and he had to go to the bathroom, and he withheld himself, and he therefore didn't go to the bathroom, and he got the disease. So this raises a big shaila in the poskim. Why is he allowed to hold in going to the bathroom? We know we have a formal Isser Derabanan based on the pasuk of Bal Tashaktu that a person is not allowed to restrain themselves from going to the bathroom. The parameter in halacha is that if somebody knows that they have to go to the bathroom one way or the other within 72 minutes, which is the shear of 4 mil, Mem Yod Lamed, shear of 4 mil, then they're obligated to go to the bathroom. It's usher to daven. You get up and go to the bathroom. It's usher. It's Nisr Derabanan. The Meforshim say that if a person davens when they have to go to the bathroom, that their tefillah ain't tefillah ela menayis. It's nothing. The tefillah was a joke. It may not even count ladina, but it certainly is not appropriate. So how could Rava stand here and answer shilas to the point that he gets hadroken, that he gets this disease? Some Meforshim learn out from this Gemara that we see from here that a person is allowed to violate an Isser Derabanan because of Kavod Abrios. This is a well-known idea in the halachic svarim, that a person who is in a scenario where if they were to admit to a certain circumstance, let's say in this case he says he has to go to the bathroom, and for him that may have been embarrassing, he could violate the Isser Derabanan of not going to the bathroom in a timely fashion, by holding in from going to the bathroom for kavod abriya. So that's a big shaila, and this is one of the Mari Makomos that comes up here, and it seems very clear that Rava would have otherwise violated this Isser Derabanan. But that's how the Gemara answers the question by Rava, that the way he got hadroken was not by avera, and it was not by fasting, but it was by unfortunately having to hold in, that he had to go to the bathroom. And we are now 2 lines from the bottom. Tana Rabbanan Dalet Simanim. There are 4 types of things that we need to know about. Dalet Simanim. Number 1, Siman Avera Hadroken, like we already saw, that if a person does an Avera, they could get this intestinal disease of Hadroken. Siman Sinas Chinam Yarkon. One of the signs of Sinas Chinam, one of the signs of baseless hatred, an onesh, would be yarkon, would be jaundice. Similar gastus haruach anius, a person who would have gastus haruach, who's a big balgaiva, is anius. The Meforshim here are very bothered by this. We know a lot of gasei ruach who they're real balei gaiva, and they're quite wealthy people. Sometimes they're balei gaiva because they're wealthy people. So obviously it doesn't mean dollars and cents. It just means when it comes to the quality of person as it relates to being a ben Torah, of having Torah, Tocho Kavaro, being an authentic person, it's very rare to see that matched up perfectly. But anyways, that's what it's talking about here. It's not talking about dollars and cents. It's talking about a person's quality as a ben Torah. And that's what Rashi says on the bottom line. Rashi says, Anius beperaka ish mekadesh, and Kedushin, it says in the Parish, my Anius to Torah. He's poor as it relates to Torah. Simin lalashon hara askera. This is going to take us through the next Amud. We're going to learn one of the most well-known Gemaras about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is, of course, on Daf Lamed Gimel, Lag BaOmer. All of that is found here, and that was not an accident. Of course, Chazal were quite aware of what was going on. So let's start jumping into the Askara Sugya. The Onesh of Lashon Hara is Askara. Tana Rabbanan, Askara Ba'al Olam. Askara could come to the world. We're now turning to the top of Lamed Gimel, Lamed Beis, Al HaMaiser, for not giving Maiser. Rabbi Lazar Bar Yossi Omer Al Lashon Hara. He says that no, it's not on Maiser, it's on Lashon Hara. Soon the Gemara is going to ask. The Gemara is going to ask whether or not he agrees to both, or if he only agrees to one. Is Rabbi Lazar Bar Yossi arguing on the first shita? Who is the first shita? It doesn't say, just a Tanakama. Or is he agreeing with the Meiser and adding, or is he saying his own shita? But let's get to some of the Mari Makomos first. Omar Rava v'itema Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. My kra. What does the pasuk mean that says v'hamelech yismach ba'elokim yishalel kol hanish babo ki yisacher pi dovrei sheker? The end of the pasuk yisacher, the word askara is hinted to there. Pi dovrei sheker, those who speak lies, those who speak not nice. That is the pasuk that indicates that there will be such an onesh by lashon hara of askara. Ibayeluhu Rabbi Lazar b'Reb Yossi al lashon hara ka'amar. Was he arguing and saying that the onesh of askara only happens by lashon hara? O dilma af al lashon hara nami ka'amar. Which one is it, inclusive of the prior, or is it an argument of the prior? So the Gemara answers 9 lines from the top of the page, Lamed Gimel Lamed Beis, Tashma. When the Jews left from the second Churban, the Sanhedrin moved to Yavne. Hayasham, there were 3 Rabbanim: Reb Yehuda, Reb Elazar, Reb Yossi, Reb Shimon. These 3 Chashuv Rabbanim. Nishala she'ela zu bifneihem. Ma kazo mipnei ma matchelas bivnei me'ayim v'gomeres bepeh. Why does this onesh of askara? Why does it start in the bnei me'ayim? Why does it start in the stomach? And why is it gomeres bepeh? Why does it finish with the throat? Finishes with the throat itself. Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Eloi Rosh Hamadabrim b'chol makom. Rabbi Yehuda Bar Eloi was considered the Rosh Hamadabrim b'chol makom. We'll look into this a little bit later. But what was his response? The Amar Hafal pisha kalayos yoatzos. Even though the kidneys are the ones that give advice, v'leiv mevin, and the heart is the one that understands, v'lashon nechatech, and the tongue is the one that articulates, but still peh gomer. The decision to open your mouth and say something, that is the makeh b'patish. Maharal Prague writes that the way that the face was structured was very uniquely, in that when our mouth is closed, we have a double shield. We have very, very hard teeth, enamel, that surrounds our mouth, and we have softer cheeks that also prevent us from, if we keep our mouth closed, prevents us from talking. And the Maharal indicates that there are no other body parts like that have double coverings. Our eyes have one, our ears have, technically when the Gemara in Beitza says if you don't want to hear something, we have earlobes to stick into our ears. Our nose, we can't really cover without, everything has one cover at the most, but the mouth has 2. And the Maharal as well adds, just as a brief side note, the Maharal as well adds that the the koach of the seichel, the sichli, and the koach of the leiv, they blend together in the peh to allow for a person to share from their moach and from their heart. The greatest blend of dibur is that which comes from the seichel and that which comes from the heart together. I heard it was really it was a psychological session that I was part of today for the OU, and the speaker wove in the Kotzker Rebbe with modern research on psychotherapy. And it was fascinating. That's not the paradigm for this. We're talking on a Torah level that we have the seichel. I'm just saying that there needs to be a nice blend of what comes out of our mouths from moach and from seichel. It can't be always academic and it can't be always emotion. We have to find the blend. So that was the shita of Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Loi, that even though the kidneys advise and even though the heart understands and even though the tongue articulates, but at the end of the day, peg gomer. And that was the first answer. The first of the widest lines. Nene Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Yossi v'Amar Ibnei she'ochlen b'advarim tmeim. The reason why people get askara is because they're eating things that are tamei. What's there to talk about? Says the Gemara, dvarim tmeim sal kadaitach. You think people are eating treif? Come on, you can't be an Orthodox Jew and say that. No, we're only talking about things where it wasn't Mesukam. We're concerned that maybe Trumos and Maestros weren't taken out. Under those circumstances, then a person risks Askara. That's the top Shita on the top of the page. Look at the first words, Ala Meiser. That's what we said, Askara can be on Meiser. That is this Shita, as we see here, of Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yossi. The third answer, Reb Shimon, Nene Reb Shimon v'Amar be'avon bittul Torah. He said that people get askara because of bittul Torah. I ask the Gemara, Amru lo nashim yochichu. Well, women don't have the mitzvah of Talmud Torah like we do. We're sitting here pounding the books at 9:30 at night. Women don't have a mitzvah to learn Talmud Torah on their free time. That's our mitzvah. The answer is the Gemara. Amru lo nashim yochichu. Answers the Gemara. Shemavatlo says ba'aleihen. They sometimes can cause their husbands to be mevatel Torah. This is a big problem in the Mefarshim because women don't have a mitzvah to learn Talmud Torah like we do. We have to learn all of Shas Babli. According to the Balei Atosos, the mitzvah deraisa for a man to learn Torah is to learn all of Shas Babli. The problem is that women also have a mitzvah to learn. It's not the same mitzvah as we have, but they have a mitzvah to know that all Dalet Chelkei Shulchan Aruch. They have to know how to navigate halacha. Women are obligated just like we are in that respect. We have an extra above and beyond mitzvah. So you can't learn this from a woman to start with. It's a very difficult question. Some of them, of course, are bothered by it. Says the Gemara, fine, I understand your answer that an Isha can cause for a husband to be mevatel Torah, and that's why sometimes a woman could get askara too. Nachrim yochichu, but what about a goy? A person who's a nachri, they're not Jewish, they can get askara, and they have no mitzvah Talmud Torah, they have no mitzvah, so all other than the Sheva mitzvahs b'nei Noah. Answers the Gemara, Shemevat l'nes Yisrael. No, they sometimes can cause Jews to be mevatel Torah also, so it's all hooked into Talmud Torah according to Reb Shimon. Tinokos yochichu, what about our children, little kids at home? Shemevat l'nes aviyin. They sometimes cause their fathers to be mevatel Torah, so therefore, technically speaking, a tinok, a child, could get the punishment of askara. Fine, what about tinokos shel beis rabban? What about the kids who are in school? They're learning. Answers the Gemara, yochichu, we can learn from them. Says no, the reason why those kids, Rachmana litzlan, would ever get askara is for a different reason. Hasam kid Rabbi Gurion, Dalma Rav Gurion, Vitema Rav Yosef, Rav Shemaya, Bizman Shatadikim Bedor. Bedor tzadikim nispastim. When there are righteous people in the generation, the righteous people end up taking the hit. Today, Nebuch, we lost the Novominsker Rebbe, which was a part of the Moetzes Gedolei HaTorah, one of the leaders of Klal Yisrael. This Gemara is very fitting that tzaddikim take the brunt. But in a generation where there are no tzaddikim, al dor she'ein tzaddikim bedor, tinokes shel beis rabban nispasin al hador. Ain tzaddikim bedor. If there are no righteous in the generation, then tinokos shel beis rabban nispasin al hador, then Rachmana litzlan, the children in the schools could be the ones who receive such a consequence of askara. Amar Rav Yitzchak bar Zeira. The Amri la Amar of Shimon ben Nezira. Mikra, what's the pasuk that supports all of this? Im lo seidi ilach hayafa banoshim silach bikvei atzon. Ve'amrinan gediim ha-memushchanim al ha-ro'im. Shma mino af alashon hara nami ka'amar shma mino. So we learn from this drasha, from this pasuk in Shir Hashirim, that he held of the opinion that it was lashon hara as well, and not only meiser. It was lashon hara and meiser, and not just lashon hara. And this drasha was that the Gediyim could be the collateral damage for the shepherds, and it's just all of this is connected and woven. And these psukim are sophisticated. The drashas are sophisticated, and that is how the Gemara learns out that the Shita here holds of the Gemara of Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Yossi on the top, that when he adds in that it's Afa Lashon Hara, that it wasn't only Lashon Hara, it was Meiser as well. There are a number of sources, in other words, that could lead to the Onesh of Askara. Says the Gemara, "Ve'amai karu le rosh hamedabrim b'chol makom." Why is it that Rabbi Yehuda was the one who was called Rosh Hamedabrim b'chol makom? Rabbi Yehuda bar Elai, the Yasve Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Shimon, the Yasve Rabbi Yehuda ben Gerim Gabayu. That was a fascinating story that took place. Again, a very well-known story. Then Rabbi Yehuda bar Gerim, it's machlokas who he was. Was he a Rav or was he a Ger? It's a machlokas. Pasach Rabbi Yehuda v'Amar, this Rabbi Yehuda said, Kama noy ma'asehem shal umazu. Look how wonderful the actions are of this nation. He was talking about the Romans. Tiknu Shivakim, they have marketplaces. Tiknu Gisharim, they have bridges. Tiknu Merchatzos, they have bathhouses. Rabbi Yossi of these three Rabbanim Shasak. Nene Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai ve'Amar. Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai opened up his mouth and ve'Amar Kol Masha Tiknu Lo Tiknu Elo L'Tzorach Atzman. You think that the Romans did this for you? They did this for themselves. It has nothing to do with you. Tiknu Shvakim Lahoshi Bohen Zonos. They set up a marketplace so that they could have access to zonos, so they can have access to women who were being mizana, to prostitutes. Merchatzos La'edim Rahem Atzman. The bathhouses were for them to have hana. It was their day off. They're going to relax. Gesharim litol mehen meches. The only reason they build bridges is because it's an easy way to collect taxes. Obviously, an oldie but a goodie, because we travel in New York, every bridge, they're very expensive. Halach Yehuda ben Gerim, Yehuda ben Gerim heard this conversation with Siper Divrayhem, and he repeated the conversation that he had heard. Benishmu Lamalchus, the government found out. Amar Yehuda, Amru, they said, Yehuda she'ila yis'aleh. Yehuda, who came and told us what happened, Yehuda ben Gerim, he's going to get a promotion. Yossi sheshasak yigala l'tzipori. This guy, Rabbi Yossi, they called him Yossi. Nebuch, they didn't call him Rabbi Yossi. This guy Yossi, he was exiled to Tzipori. Shimon Shegina, and Shimon, who totally destroyed them, who was very slanderous against them. Yeharek, and he was given the death sentence, but he wasn't killed yet, obviously, because of the following story had to happen. So Azal hu uvrei tashu be medrasha. He and his son went and they hid in the base medrash. Kol yom habu ma'aselahu debisu rifta v'kuza demaya v'karche. And every day his wife would bring him and his son, Rav Shimon ben Yochai and his son, they'd bring him bread and a pitcher of water v'karche, and they would eat. Kitakif gizerta. When the Gzeira, when they were trying to actually finally arrest him and to bear down on him, Amar le lebre, Nashim daitan kala alehen, dilno mitzare la umigli alon. I'm nervous that they may break my wife, that she's, in this case, Nashim daitan kala. A lot of different references to this type of phrase throughout Shas about Nashim kalos daitan, and here it is a reference that he's just afraid that they will be mitzaer her and force her to reveal where he is. So then they left there, they left Azlu Tashu B'Ma'arta, and then they went and they moved into the cave, the famous cave of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. Says the Gemara, Yisrachich Nisa, a miracle happened. Ibriluhu Charuva, a carob tree was created by miracle. The Eino Demaya, and they had water as well. They removed their manaihu, their clothing, so that they wouldn't get ruined, the Rishonim point out. And they were sitting up to their necks in chala, in sand. Kula yom agarse, they were learning all day. Be'idan saluye, when they wanted to daven, lovshu, they got dressed. Michsu, they covered themselves. Umatzlu, and they davened. V'hadar mashlachem anayhu ki hechidelo livlu, and then they would again take off their clothing and go back into the sand. Ki hechidelo livlu, so that their clothes would not get worn down. Okay. Isvu Tresar Shnei b'Marta. They were there for 12 years in the cave. As Eliyahu kama pischa d'Marta, and Eliyahu went to the opening of the cave to talk to them. Omar, Eliyahu said to them, Man lo de la bar Yochai de mis Kesar ubatil gzerta. Who is going to be the one who tells them a very strange language? He was talking to them. Who's going to be the one who tells Bar Yochai that the Caesar had died and batil gzerte, that the bounty that was on his head was released. Nafku. So fine, they heard Baruch Hashem. They put their clothes on and they left. Nafku. They went out of the cave. Chazuinche the karbe vizari. Some people that were working the fields. Omar, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai said, "Manichin chay olam osken b'chay yishah." What's happening here? He was so used to being in the cave. He lived his Judaism the way that he lived his Judaism. He couldn't even fathom the other option of being someone who would work the land. and he thought that the person had lost their brain. Every single time he looked somewhere, it would start a fire. Every time his emotions were there, and he would look at something. We'll see today that happened a number of times. So they would start a fire. So then immediately Yatzis Abaskol ve'amra lahem, a Baskol came out and it said to father and son, to Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai and his son, you came out of the cave to destroy my world. What are you doing? That's not what you should be doing. Go back to your cave. Okay, they listened to the Baskol. Hador Azol, I see with Tresar Yarche. They went back there for another 12 months. Shata Amre, Shata for a year. Amre, they said Mishpat Rishayim Begehenim Yud Beis Chodesh. This is one of the reasons why we say Kaddish, that if Nebuch, a person has a Gzeira on them, the Gzeira is during those first 12 months, and therefore we say Kaddish during that time for a parent. So Machlokes Ashkenazim and Sfardim, if we say Kaddish in the 12th month itself, in the final month of the year, I should say, Ashkenazim, of course, end at 11 months, and Sfardim go the full length of the year. And then, so Mishpat, Amre, Mishpat, Rishayim, Begehenim, Yud Beis Chodesh. Yatzis Baskol, after the 12 months, now this has been a total of 13 years. Baskol came out, V'amrat Zumi Ma'araschem, come out of the cave now. Nafku, they came out of the cave. Kol Hecha Dahava Mache, Rabbi Elazar, the son. Rabbi Elazar was the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Then, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai got the message, and his son did not get the message. So now his son, everywhere he looked, Nafku, Kol Hecha Dahava Mache, Rabbi Elazar, everywhere where Rabbi Elazar would look, he would hurt someone. Then Hava Mase, Rabbi Shimon would heal the person that he looked at. Amar Lo, father-son moment. Beni, Dai La'olam Ani Va'ata, you and I are enough for the world to exist. We don't need to be lighting any fires. On Erev Shabbos, this story highlights what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai had learned in the cave. On Erev Shabbos, Chazu Ahu Saba, he saw that there was an older gentleman, that he was carrying 2 bundles of asa, of leaves that smelled good. The Rahit Ben Hashmashos, he was running around right before Shabbos started. Amruleh, they said to him, the father and son, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, they said, Honey, Lamalach, what are you doing with these good-smelling branches? Amar Lu Chavod Shabbos. The reason why I have them is for Chavod Shabbos. He says, okay, that's really wonderful, but why do you have 2 of them? Why did you buy 2? This is not the richest place. Go buy 1. Why would you buy 2 bundles? He says, Chad keneged zachor, v'chad keneged shomor. One of the primary Mari Makomos as to why we have a minimum of 2 candles on Friday night. One is keneged shomor and one is keneged zachor. Amar Leila Bray, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says to his son Rabbi Elazar, Chazi kama chavivin mitzvos al Yisrael, Yasiv da'atayu. And then father and son, they were more calm. They realized that you could be osek in the physical world and be makadesh the physical world all at the same time. They're not siloed experiences. It's not like our Torah life is only in the base medrash. It's only when we're learning daf yomi, only when we're learning Torah, only when we're davening. We have to be blending our physical experience with that as well. And that message was learned here. Shama, Rav Pinchas ben Yair Chasnei, Rav Pinchas ben Yair, who was made famous because Rav Pinchas ben Yair wrote the Brisa upon which the Masilas Yesharim was written. He was the son-in-law of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Shama, Rav Pinchas ben Yair Chasnei, the son-in-law of Nafak la'apeh, he went to go greet him. Aile lebei banei, and they went into a bathhouse. Havaka arich lebisrei. And Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair was taking care of his father-in-law. He had, as we'll see soon, he had some kind of medical issues with his skin, so he was helping him with his skin. Chazi dahaba be'pile begufe. He saw that he had cracks in his skin. And Habakabachi, the son-in-law, was crying. Because nasru dimas eine, the as he started crying, the tears went into the cracked skin, and it caused for Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai to kind of call out a little bit in pain. Amar Lei, the son-in-law said, Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair said, Oy li she'ri'isicha bekach, Nebuch, I can't believe your skin is like this. You're the Gadol Hador. How could this be? Amar Lei, Ashrecha she'ri'isani bekach. This is the right way to see me. This is the right way to see me. She'ilmali lo ri'isini bekach, lo matzasi bekach. This is how I got to be who I am, by sitting in the sand all day and by learning and by pounding the books and really learning Torah. This was part of my process, battle wounds. To Meikara, in the beginning, before Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai went into the cave, ki hava makshe Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai kushya. When Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai would ask a question, hava mafarek le Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair tresar piruke. Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair would respond with 12 answers. L'sof, after the whole cave experience, when Rav Pinchas ben Yair would ask a question to his father-in-law, he would come back with 24 answers. He mamish grew tremendously in Torah in the cave. Omar, he said, Holy Israchish Nisa, Rishon ben Yochai said, because there were so many miracles that took place, Ezal, Iskin Milsa, I need to go help and fix something around the world. Vayave, Dechsiv, as the pasuk says, Vayave Yaakov Shalem, V'Amar Rav Shalem, B'Gufo Shalem, B'Mamono Shalem, B'Torah. So that Yaakov was Shalem with his body, Shalem with his money, and Shalem with his Torah. Vayichen es Panei Ha'ir. And Amar Rav, what does that pasuk mean? Vayichen es Panei Ha'ir. Amar Rav, what did he do? Matbea tikin lahem. He made them a coin system. Ushmuel amar shivakim titem lahem. He made a marketplace. Rabbi Yochanan amar merchatzos tiken them. He made them bathhouses. Amar ika milsa de baile tikune. There are things that I want to fix. So those were all examples of Rav and Yaakov. So what did Rav Shimon ben Yochai do? Ika milsa de baile tikune. Is there anything I can do to fix them? It says the Gemara. Amruleh, yeah, you know what? If there is something that you could do, we'd really appreciate it. Ikaduchta, there's a particular place, the Ispe Safek Tuma. We're not sure if there's a mace still buried there. Be'is lehu tzara lekohanim la'akofe. And it's very difficult. It's a field that's in a main thoroughfare, and the people would walk through that field all the time. If you're a Yisrael or a Levi, no problem. But if you're a Kohen and there's a mace there, so then that's a big problem. You can't just walk through. So therefore, they said, can you help with that? Omar, Ika inish diyada dischaze kachatara. It came up with what sounds to be like the beginning of a halachic approach. Do we have a chezkas kashrus? Why are you assuming that there's a mace here? Amar le'ahu saba kan kitez ben zakai turmase truma. He says, this older gentleman said that in the previous generation of Yochanan ben Zakkai was peeling legumes here for truma. What does that imply? It implies that there's no mace there. That's what it implies. Okay, so Avid Ihu Nami Hachi. So Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai did the same thing. He took turmacin, he took these legumes, and he started peeling them, and he threw them on the field. Kol Hecha dehava kashim tahare. Wherever the ground remained firm, it was kashe tahare. He said there's no mace under that area. Kol Hecha dehava rafe, and wherever the ground seems to have been softened, it indicates that the mace underneath the ground moved a little bit, and now we know where the maceim are. And a tziyun, it's actually what we call a grave. The tombstone is referred to as a tziyun. So this is the same language. And there we knew that there was a mace under that softer ground, and then it made it safe for Kohanim to walk in the appropriate places. Amar Ahu Saba, Tiher ben Yochai Beis HaKvaros. Oh, look at you. You made a cemetery, a normal place to walk for a Kohen. That's ridiculous. How could you do that? Amar Le'un Male Hayisa Imanu V'afidu Hayisa Imanu V'lo Nimne Simanu Yafe Ata Omer. If you weren't here, or if you were here but you weren't involved in the story, maybe I could understand why you would say such a sharp comment. You're not only here, but you were part of the whole story. Yomru, zonos mefarchasos zo is zo. Two women who are harlots, they may braid each other's hair. But talmidei chachamim, lo kol shekain. Shouldn't you be speaking to me nicer than that? You were in the same scenario as me. Yohav Bey Eine V'Noch Nafshe. He looked at him, Reb Shimon ben Yochai looked at this Hahu Sabat, this older gentleman, and he passed away. The Mefarshim here explained that the bizayon of a Talmud Chacham is Chayav Misa. It's not stam, that this is a story, that this is the real deal. And one would have to be careful to always speak in the positive about Talmidei Chachamim. Nofak l'shuka, he went out to the marketplace. Chazia liYehuda ben Gerim. The guy who started the whole story. Shimon ben Yochai, it's been 13 years. He goes to the marketplace. He sees this guy who started all of these problems, because Yehuda ben Gerim was the reason why he had to go to the cave in the first place. Omar, he said, Adayin yesh la zeba olam. This person still has air in his lungs. How does that even happen? This person does not deserve to be alive. So he solved that problem. He looked at him and he became a gal, a little mound of bones. The Mefarshim here distinguish in the language between gal shalatzamos, like we just saw here, and nach nafshe a couple of lines ago. And the Mefarshim explained that because he should have died a long time ago, that when Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai looked at him, it made his bones look like they were very, very old and decrepit, as though he was killed many, many years ago. We are now going to refer to a Mishnah that's a very common Mishnah. We'll touch on a major sugya. We're not going to spend too much time on it because it's late already, but we'll touch on a major sugya in Shas about Bein Hashmashos. How do we halachically look at Bein Hashmashos, and what is allowed during Bein Hashmashos as we go into Shabbos? It says the Mishnah, 1/3 of the way down on Lamed Daled Amud Aleph. Gimel Dvarim Tzarech Adam Lomar B'Soch Beisar of Shabbos Im Chashecha Yisartem Hiravtim and Liku Haner. A person, a husband in this case, is obligated to say in his home three things. Yisartem, did you tithe the food? Did you take out Trumos and Maasros? Iravtem, did you check the Eruv? Rashi here points out it could be both. It could be Eruve Chatzeros, in order to make multiple chatzeros in one unit to be able to transfer from one to the next, or it could be a ruve tchumen, where you are extending the tchum, your 2,000 amos tchum, to make it then 4,000 amos. And the last one is hadliku es haner. And then one should just remind his wife that she is obligated to light candles. Safek chashecha, safek ena chashecha, the language itself is indicative that there's confusion. If we're not sure if it's dark yet, safek chashecha, safek ena chashecha, why don't you just say safek chashecha? What's the strange language? Okay, we'll get to some of this in the Gemara. So then, ein ma'aser nesavadai, because it's possibly Shabbos, it's possibly chashecha. Then you can't be ma'aser vada. You're not allowed to take something that you know for sure is tevel and separate trumos and maestros, because that would be tikkun mana. That would be an isur doraisa. That's not allowed. Vein matbilin es hakelim. You also can't do tefillas kelim, because that is tikkun mana. It makes it available for Shabbos. Vein malikin es haneros, because that's havar. You're not allowed to do malacha on Shabbos. You've subject doraisa b'chumrah. Aval, however, ma'asher nasa d'mai. If we have d'mai is food that we got from an am ha'aretz, and there's a suffix on whether or not the food was tithed. There we do allow that during bin hashmashos, because it's a double suffix. Suffix if it's Shabbos, and suffix if the am ha'aretz was ma'aser d'mai. Ume'arvin. Gemara is very bothered by ma'arvin. You just said in the previous part of the Mishnah, those are one of the first three things you have to say. And now you're saying here that it's included. The Gemara is going to ask that question. The Tomin Nesacham, and you can also do Hatmana during Bein Hashmashos. Says the Gemara, Menahani Mili, how do we know that we have to ask these three questions in our homes? Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Amar Kravi Adata, Kishalama Alecha, Ufakarata Navecha, Velo Sechata, Navecha, reference to a woman's wife. Naveh is beautiful. And these are the things that we should say to her, Shalom Ohalecha, that we should make sure that there is peace in the home. So says the Gemara, Amar Rabba Barav Huna, Afal Gav Damar Rabbanan Shlosha Dvarim Tzarech Adam Lomar V'chula. Even though our Mishnah says that we have to say these three things at home, we have to make sure, it should be obvious, that we do it like a mensch. He says, Tzarech L'meimrinhu b'nichusa. We have to say it gently. Ki hechi delik balinhu mineh. So that she will be willing to listen. She'll be willing to receive the comments. Sweetheart, did you have the opportunity to do X, Y, and Z, as opposed to the sharper tone of, I presume you did the tithing. I presume it's not. We have to just make sure that it's a little more peaceful. Amar Ravashi, I mean, I'm really glad that someone wrote it down, but I wasn't one who needed it. Amar Ravashi, Analo Shmieli Hada Rabba Barafun. I never heard his line that we had to say it Benichusa. The Kiyamti Misvara. Why do you need an Amora to tell you that you have to be nice and pleasant? We have to just make sure that that we're nice to people. Says the Gemara, wait a minute. We have a question in our Mishnah. Hagufa Kashya. Amris, you said, Shlosha Dvarim Tzarech Adam Lomar B'Soch Beisar of Shabbos Im Chashecha. Im Chashecha in. Safek Chashecha. Safek Chashecha lo. So there are three things that you have to say. Those three things are, one of them is Eruv. And we said Im Chashecha, that's where you're restricted. And then we said in the case of V'hadar Tani, Safek Chashecha, Safek Chashecha Me'arev. How could you say both? You said Eruvin is that what you're not allowed to do when it's at night, and then you're all of a sudden you're saying it's done in Bein Hashmashos. How can that work out? The Gemara here interjects with a mnemonic to remember the next many sugya. Simon, Begufya, Zimra, Tzifra, Bechavla, Demilsa. We'll get to each of these words as we navigate the sugya. But now the Gemara is going to answer our question. The reason why they put this here is because all of these are phrases and comments of Rabbi Abba, Amar Rav Chia, Bar Ashi, Amar Rab. So here is number one. Amar Rabbi Abba, Amar Rav Chia, Bar Ashi, Amar Rab, Lo Kasha. Kan be'eruvei tchumen, kan be'eruvei chatzeros. No problem at all. In the case of the Reisha of the Mishnah, where we said that it's usher, that was talking about a ruvei tchumen. That's a big difference. You're completely changing the dynamic of where a person can walk on a Torah level. That enables a person to walk 2,000 more amos. That's a huge difference. So that's not allowed on Shabbos. But during Bein Hashmashos, a ruvei chatzeros is allowed. That's the distinction to be made. The Reisha is talking about a ruvei tchumen, and the middle part of the Mishnah, where it says that it's permissible to do during Bein Hashmashos, that's talking about a ruvei chatzeros. Rabbi gives a unique case scenario. Amru lo shnayim. I tell two people, tzei ve'arev aleinu. Go make for us an eruv. Le'echad irev alav mi ba'od yom. One person did the eruv during the day. Ule'echad irev alav bein hashmashos. And one person did the eruv during bein hashmashos. Zeh she'irev alav mi ba'od yom. This person who did the eruv before Shabbos, ne'echal eruva bein hashmashos. An animal came along and ate the food bein hashmashos. V'zeh she'irei b'lav bein hashmashos, and the person who put the eruv down during bein hashmashos, ne'echal eruva mishech hashecha. Some animal came along and ate it once it was dark out. So the halacha is, says Rabbi, shnehem kana eruv. It was crazy. The food was eaten. They were put in at different times. How do we define when night is? So the Gemara is very bothered by this. Wait a minute. Manav shach. No matter how you look at it, this doesn't make sense. Iben hashmashos yamamahu basra likni kamalo likni. If ben hashmashos is what's considered to be night, then the first person put down his eruv before, he put down his food before Shabbos started. So then that should not be a kinyan. But the second one is going to be a kinyan. I bein hashmashos yimamahu basar likne kama basar likne kama lo likne. V'i bein hashmashos lel yahu. And if bein hashmashos is night, then kama likne, the first one should count because you did it right before Shabbos. Basar lo likne, but the last one should not count. Answers the Gemara with a very important rule. Bein hashmashos sveikahu v'sveika derabanan l'kula. Bein hashmashos is considered a suffix, and just to briefly touch on the sugya, and then we'll part ways for this evening and for the entire Chag, for our 3-day yontif that's coming up, is that Bein Hashmashos is very unique in that it's Chelek Yom, Chelek Laila. It's not twilight per se. It has pieces of day, pieces of night. The way some of the Rishonim explain it is that each second of Bein Hashmashos is part day, part night. So you can't say that it's either one. There are major shilas in halacha when a woman becomes an Nida during Bein Hashmashos, if a woman has a baby during Bein Hashmashos. So many shilas that come up because of the definitions of Bein Hashmashos. And the Ritva critically has a language that points out that the nature of Bein Hashmashos, that it's a suffix, is a din, which is a very interesting concept in Lamdas. There is a halacha, it is not a suffix. The halacha is that Bein Hashmashos is a suffix. It's never going to be answered. It's not like we're going to find a solution to this at some point. The nature of Bein Hashmashos is that it is a suffix midina, and it's not one that's going to be solved. We'll pause here tonight. I just wanted to wish each of you a Chag Kosher v'Sameach, and we will continue Mirz Hashem on Motzei Shabbos at 9:30, and another blot and a half then, and time to chip away and catch up.
Ellie.
Have a great night. Kol Tuv, everybody.
Thank you, Phil.
9:30. Kol Tuv. Bye-bye.